Male Redditors, has a girl ever gave you a hint that flew over your head and you now deeply regret? If so, I never realized it. That hint is probably still flying around somewhere. Girl once told me all the things she likes on a first date. One of the things was shooting pool and getting a glimpse at the CK underwear band. She loved that. Then here's the kicker, she said like the ones you wear, and my dumbass didn't see that as a hint. SMH. She asked me to help her study at her place. When I got there she was not wearing bras and a t-shirt, very short shorts. I don't think she had panties, but I wanted her to pass our subject. I thought it was like laundry day. She didn't have anything to wear, and she forgot, so I went full zen in my mind and taught her. Then she told me later on how stupid I was. When I was 17 I was working a job at a hotel as a waiter over a summer. This 19-year-old girl, Kathy, on break from college, worked as the hostess. When my shift ended, I had to wait for my dad to give me a ride, so she started giving me a ride home. This turned into her stopping at her house to change, ID, sit in the car and smoke. Then she invited me in and ID sit at the kitchen table while she went in her room. Then she invites me into her room. Then one day she's changing, and she says you can watch if you want, and I still remember her looking at me over her shoulder and her black bra. After that I think she stopped giving me rides home. I didn't realize how much of a sure thing I had until a decade later. In hindsight, she was so attractive, kind of an Aubrey Plaza type who still wore a retainer and was embarrassed by it. She was in college. I was a junior in high school. I thought I had zero chance. I also didn't have that much experience flirting, courtship, let alone a girl being forward. Everything up to that point had been weird. Middle school, high school, puppy love, kinda glomping onto each other. I just did not recognize it. Nope. After marrying a woman who uses her words, I would never go back to dating anyone who relies on hints. I'm too old and too tired to play the guess what's in my head game. I don't know if I deeply regret it, but yes, I've had almost all of them fly over my head because I had self-esteem issues. Asking if I wanted to see their underwear, saying I had really nice eyes, or being stared at while I was eating. I don't like being stared at, and that was all I could think about. I don't remember how I found out that the last girl was into me. She asked me if I want to go see her butterfly tattoos at her place, and I refused because I was so confused why it has to be at her place. Why not where we are exactly? I know I was dumb. It was too late when I realized. I do not know how to make the move now. Happened with every girl who gave hint and regretted some time later every single time. In certain situations it is wise to pretend to be oblivious, when you are not. Otherwise known as dodging a bullet. More than a hint and I was oblivious. On vacation with my family at my stepmother's uncle's house on a tropical island. Yeah, he was loaded. He had an adopted daughter who was from a local orphanage. I was 17, she was 19, and she was beautiful. The day I met her she was very nice to me. That night we were alone in the living room after everyone else went to bed. We were watching TV. She said something like, well, I have to go to bed now, I'm going somewhere tomorrow, and I said okay, good night, it was nice to meet you. Then she walked over to where I was sitting, leaned over and kissed me on the mouth with tongue for about 4 seconds. Me. Stunned silence. I had no game at all at that age, also hadn't slept with anyone as well. She just looked at me and then a few seconds later went to her room. I look back on that moment in my head all the time. So dumb, but in my defense, what the hell did I know? Lolo, if I could go back in time. Many years ago there was a girl who I had the biggest crush on. I was in high school and so dumb. She was on the softball team and I was on the baseball team. She asked to go to my place to pass the ball and play PlayStation. Well, I did just that and didn't take advantage of anything further. Another time her and I were at a party. We both were drinking and she was smoking a cigarette. She blew smoke in my face and I immediately started talking shit, saying why would you do that and that I don't smoke and it's gross. I left the room and later seen her friend. I told her what happened and she laughed. Apparently I didn't realize that was a sign she wanted to sleep with me. She told the friend that she didn't think I was into her because every time she tried to hook up I never took the opportunity. I'd what I was thinking. She was so far out of my league I didn't think it was possible. She asked me if I wanted to see the tattoo on her ass, which I did, but didn't realize that was the hint, so I didn't pursue. Way back in school I was talking to the girl I had a crush on and told her that I loved that cliche schoolgirl look. Like the button up, plaid skirt, knee-high socks, etc. Couple days later she shows up wearing that. Man, I was dumb. I went to the bathroom to piss the beer out. Yo, who takes the time typing out the exact liquids that make up their piss? Elmo, just say you went to take a piss, bro. If I missed hints then I probably wouldn't be able to tell you. Yes, all the time and too numerous to detail. It was so bad I blatantly let women know I was single for this very reason and refused to ask a woman out unless I was 100% sure she wouldn't be upset. because I didn't want to bother anyone. I've realized I blew my chances in retrospect, but I don't deeply regret those situations. Faintly regret is more fitting. Would've been nice, but it didn't work out. Also, not all of those situations are equal. There were a few where the girl was being incredibly obvious and I was just dense, but there were others where the girl seemed to think just kind of standing near me was a strong hint that she wanted to have sex, and I'm not going to waste my time regretting that. I had a huge crush on a girl all 4 years of HS, never even tried to ask her out. I thought she was way WWE out of my league then. Many years later, I ran into her on FB, had a chat, and she mentioned that back in HS, she liked me. Like what? I legit asked her if she was kidding, but she's married. I'm also happily married, but it's funny to think about how different my life would be now. I had the balls, but I wouldn't chance I'll change a thing. I love my wife, and I got gorgeous, healthy, and good kids. A girl I thought I had no chance with had shaved her legs. She put my hand at the top of her thigh and told me to feel how smooth her legs were. A couple days later it clicked, but the moment had gone. When I was 19 I started working as a volunteer in a charity shop. I'm very shy, so didn't get on too well with the other staff, except for the assistant manager, who was my age. We got on like a house on fire. We argued like a married couple all the time. Customers would come in just to watch us squabble. One day we met up for drinks and she told me she had fell in love with someone she worked with. I named every male coworker, including the elderly ones. She was rolling her eyes and said it wasn't any of them. I then twigged she was talking about me. We've been together 23 years this year, married for 18.